1 year ago, my FTP was at 114 watts. At 71 kilograms, that's about 1.6 watts per kilo. My 5K running time, 42 minutes. Today, my FTP is at 220 watts, which now is 3.4 watts per kilo. And I can run 23 minutes 5K. I didn't have an endurance background. I didn't follow a plan. Most of it just came from consistently riding indoors. When I started, I was actually 75 kilograms. Had an office job, no endurance training, and last time I actually played sports was over 15 years prior to it. So it's not really a comeback story. I was literally starting from zero. In fact, I didn't even have proper gear. No clipless pedals, no heart rate monitor, no bike computer. Just a basic setup and a lot of determination. In the beginning, I trained about 6 to 7 hours per week. No structure. I just logged in on Zwift and did some random events that I would find, like double XP events, a club group rides, things like that. And that really kept me going. You know, the social aspect of Zwift really motivated me. And in those first months, progress was pretty fast. My FTP jumped up pretty high, but was still making some mistakes. Like I didn't fuel my ride properly and bonked multiple times. And like I mentioned, I had no structure. But I think at that stage, at the beginning, most of the fight is mental. And even just showing up, that's a win. So after the initial gains, you know, progress started to slow down quite a bit. You know, my FTP hovered around 180 watts for quite some time. But what was actually happening is, even though the FTP was not increasing, my watts per kilo was, because I was losing weight. So over the year, I dropped over 10 kilograms. And that taught me something, is to not focus just on one metric and stop worrying so much about weight. I was so hyper focused on weight at the beginning. But what I realized is it's not all about that. You know, don't focus just on weight. Don't focus just on FTP. It's about building a sustainable lifestyle that you can actually do and enjoy doing than just chasing like a quick result. So once I had a structure to my training, everything just improved. I mean, right now, my current week looks like Monday, I have a rest day. On Tuesday, I have Zwift races. On Wednesday, I have a Zone 2 ride, a light one usually. On Thursday, I have VO2 Max or Sweet Spot or another race, depending what's going on that week. Then on Friday, I have a 5K run outdoors. On Saturday, I have an outdoor ride, literally whatever I want to do. It could be an event, could be a Zone 2 ride, could be just going around a trail, could even be gravel riding. And I'm also started doing some mountain biking, like very, very light, which has been a lot of fun for me. And then on Sunday, I do a longer endurance ride, typically 3 or even 4 hours. So most of the session, however, about 60 to 75 minutes. And like I mentioned, the endurance ride can be anywhere between 2 to 4 hours. But what really changed wasn't the volume, because, I mean, initially I was doing 6 to 7 hours, down doing about 9 hours. So it's not a huge increase. What was actually different is the structure, including structure consistency, which is the hardest thing to do, in my opinion. Where hard days are actually hard days and easy days are actually easy days. And we all know that Zone 2, that what was supposed to be that Zone 2 ride that actually ends up being a Zone 4 ride. I think we all know that. So that's definitely a very hard mental fight. But yeah, not everything was smooth. I had several weeks of downtime where I was on vacations, and I also had a surgery where I completely stopped for a week. I couldn't do anything for a week. And for a few weeks after that, I could literally just do Zone 1. Like, even just getting in Zone 2 was painful. But, you know, yeah, and physically it was painful, but I think mentally it was even worse. Because I wanted to train, I knew that if I did not, all the hard work that I put in was, not all, but a lot of it was going away and I would have to recover. So that was definitely the hardest part for me of this year. Nutrition also was another big change for me. At the start, I didn't really think about it. I think when you're first starting off, at least for me, it depends really on person to person, but for me, I like to focus on one thing at a time. And then when I get familiar and comfortable with it, I start learning more, learning about zones, learning about nutrition, learning about supplements and all these things. So after a while, I started doing nutrition. At the beginning, I said I wasn't really thinking about it, but now it's still a work in progress. But I've been learning more about protein intake, carbs, fats, trying to eat healthier and simpler food. For supplements, I take creatine daily, and on my heavier rides, so I have like gels and also electrolytes. I have two categories. I have light and stronger ones. So on my training rides, maybe the heavier ones, like the longer ones, I will use some lighter gels and lighter electrolyte. While on heavy races or long endurance rides, I will use higher carb gels, like the ones that contain more carbs. And I will also use electrolyte mixes where they have more electrolyte, more sodium, but also mixed with carbs. And I typically shoot for around 60 to 80 grams of carbs per hour. So bonking has absolutely disappeared. Cramping gone. It's just, since I've started doing it, never happened. Never happens. So that's definitely been an improvement. Another thing I've been improving very, very recently, so I've not seen results yet, but it's looking good, I think, is strength training. And I would recommend that. I think even though it's been 2 weeks, I do see some, I feel better, like my body feels better. And yeah, I feel like I think I can feel the power difference already. So I'm looking forward to see how that's going to go. But yeah, and also a few weeks ago, I did a 63-mile outdoor ride. That was my first metric century. I did it under 3 hours. And it was also my first time riding in a group. And the best part is that I also did paceline. So we basically ended up with a group of 5, and we started doing time trial formation, like paceline, and taking turns, which was a very cool experience for me as somebody who's new to the sport. And yeah, I actually averaged over 21 miles per hour, which is pretty good for 3 hours. I know there's people who do much better than that, but for somebody who's been cycling for less than a year, I think that's very good. So yeah, right now, like I mentioned earlier, I started as a Cat D rider. My lowest score was 74, Zwift racing score. I'm now a Cat B rider. My racing score is currently 552 over a year, for 74 to 552. It's just amazing. Of course, weight. You also lose peak power. That's something that I noticed, and which is why I started doing strength training. Because at the beginning I could do 900 watts sprints, and now I can't really go above 700. So I am hoping that strength training is going to help me recover that loss. I'm confident about it, honestly, because I see other people do it as well, and I can see what kind of power other people can put in. So I think it's going to help significantly, and I'm definitely looking forward to see the results. So yeah, if I had to summarize everything, I would say the biggest things that made the biggest difference was having a structured training rather than having more volume, fueling training, as that will keep you strong throughout the whole effort and not just at the beginning. Learning more about zones, learning about nutrition, learning about strength training, but most importantly, make it something that you can sustain, make it something that you enjoy, because I think at the end of the day, this is a lifestyle. You're not going after, a 1 month, 2 month training. This has to be a lifestyle. If you want this to stick, if you want to see improvement that sticks, It needs to be something that you enjoy doing. It needs to be a lifestyle. So yeah, I didn't do anything extreme. I just stayed consistent for a year. And that was enough to completely change my fitness. So you might ask, what's my goal for next year? Category A.